Welcome to the Cooldown Room with your host, Skye, an F1 podcast where we talk all things Formula. Welcome back to the Cooldown Room. I hope we're all doing very well. This weekend, as we all know, is yet another Grand Prix. We are heading to Japan for the Japanese Grand Prix at Suzuka, and I'm here to run you guys through everything that you need to know, all of the facts and everything, full rundown for the whole weekend. The last Grand Prix that we had was pretty good. It was kind of crazy. We had very unexpected results, of course, and it was a lot of fun to watch, though a very early morning. Lucky for us all, we have another early morning this weekend. Not quite as early as Australia, but early enough. So before we get into all the information and facts and everything, I love the Japanese Grand Prix. I think it's actually one of my favorite Grand Prix that there is, and there's been a lot of highs and lows at this track, and it brings a lot of excitement overall. And as you can see with all the interviews with the drivers, when you talk to the drivers, they love Suzuka. They love the international circuit there. I just think it's really cool. And the whole track is so unique. The fact that it is a figure of 8 is, I think, crazy actually. Like the fact that the track goes above and below, like it crosses over. That is awesome. The track itself is super cool, and yeah, the weather can be unpredictable sometimes, and it's just so many things can happen. I think a big thing for this year is the fact that the Grand Prix is being held in spring, and we've never been to Suzuka for the F1 in spring. We've only ever been there in autumn. We normally race there in October like we did last year and all of the other years before, but F1 have decided to kind of change up the calendar, make it slightly more eco, moving from different countries that are a little bit closer to one another. So of course we were just in Australia, a nice close country. Well, I say close country, there aren't many countries that close to Australia, but the closest F1 track would of course be Japan. So we're traveling there this weekend. It makes sense, but yeah, the calendar still isn't particularly eco. As we can see, we travel here, there and everywhere in all sorts of orders, but it will be really fun to be in Japan for the whole, what's it called, like blossom season. I don't know what it's called, but they have so many orchards and like blossoms over there. I just think it's adorable. Like, I love that. Japan has always been on my to visit list. I'm really excited to travel there in the future. It looks so beautiful. It's, I think, an entirely different culture from what I'm used to here in the UK. It's so different, but I think the culture looks incredible. The food is so good, but I've never tried real Japanese food. I've only had like international, UK's version. So yeah, I really want to go there. Anyway, I think it is time to get into the juicy details of the track and the weekend. So without further ado, let's go on to the cooldown room warm-up for the Japanese Grand Prix. For round 4, we will be heading to the Suzuka International Racing Course based in Suzuka in Japan. This track has a pretty good history in F1. It was created in 1962, but we only started racing there with F1 back in 1987. Sugihiro Honda, which, yes, it's a familiar name, he is the man who created the Honda brand. He wanted a track specifically for Honda cars, and so therefore created the Suzuka International Racing Course. The original drawings of the track passed over and under itself 3 times. Then it was changed to just the one single crossover, which creates the figure of 8 that we have now. The track is 5.807 kilometers long, and we're going to have 53 laps on Sunday. There's 1 DRS zone with 1 detection zone, and there are 18 turns in total. We have such a variety of turns here. We have fast turns, slow turns. It's mostly a very high speed track, but we do have some of those tight, slow corners. We have the hairpin at turn 11, and we have the S's from turn 2 to turn 7. The S's are super iconic and such fun to drive, apparently. The cars will be reaching around 325 kilometers per hour. That's about 200 miles per hour. The fastest lap set during a Grand Prix is a 1:30.983. That was set by Lewis Hamilton in 2019. The fastest lap set during a qualifying was a 1:28.877. That is set by Max Verstappen last year. So predicted pole setter time is going to be between a 1:28 and a 1:27. A record 13 championships have been decided at the Suzuka track track in Japan. That's mostly because it's one of the last races during a season, but of course this year that is not the case. We're going to be travelling to the Suzuka International Racing Course until 2029. The tyres being used for the weekend will be the hardest of them all. We'll have the C1 as hard, the C2 as medium, and the C3 as softs. We shouldn't be using the wet tyre as both Saturday and Sunday look dry at the moment. Saturday's forecast is about 19 degrees Celsius and Sunday's forecast is around 22 degrees Celsius. Michael Schumacher is the most successful driver at Suzuka with a total of 6 wins. The schedule for the weekend is pretty early for most of us. Qualifying starts in Japan at 3 p.m. Here in the UK, that is 7 a.m. If you're watching Central European time, that is 8 a.m. And if you're watching Eastern Standard Time, that is 2 a.m. The race start in Japan is at 2 p.m. Here in the UK, that is 6 a.m. Central European time is 7 a.m. And Eastern Standard Time is 1 a.m. You guys just need to stay up at this point. You cannot be going to sleep and waking back up. And a quick little overview race recap from last year. Max Verstappen finished on the top set in first, and then Lando Norris finished in second, and Oscar Piastri finished in first. I think it was a good day for McLaren. So we have already had free practice 1 and free practice 2, and as I'm sure you guys have seen, Logan Sargent didn't have the best time. Logan actually started free practice 1 with Alex's old repaired chassis that he crashed in Australia. I kept seeing a ton of tweets saying that Logan didn't deserve to have the repaired car, he deserved to have his car. But not long into free practice 1, Logan spun off the track and has crashed the car. Lewis Hamilton has said in interviews over the past couple hours that today has been the most comfortable that he has felt in the car all year. And I say all year, this is only our 4th race, but during the first 3 races of the season, the Mercedes has not looked good. So hearing a little bit of hope in Lewis is probably going to be pleasing every Mercedes supporter out there. Another thing I thought was really interesting to mention was just how much Sebastian Vettel is being mentioned everywhere within F1. Hearing that he could be having a comeback is very exciting. Having a 4-time world champion come back to F1 could be huge for the sport. It could bring back a lot of viewers who watched it previously, and it's just exciting to have someone who knows the cars and knows how F1 works that much. And I think that the opportunities for Sebastian could be pretty big. I know that everyone's talking a lot about Fernando Alonso moving over to Mercedes, but at the end of the day, there is a free seat, and I think that Sebastian Vettel would fit in really well at the Mercedes garage. If Toto ends up staying, I have a feeling that Sebastian will be Toto's preference over Fernando. Anything could happen in Mercedes with that seat, though I could be completely all wrong there. But I do get this feeling they've always got on really well, and Sebastian would do well in that car, or could do well in that car. If the car is drivable. They really need some improvements. So my quick predictions for the weekend, for the race results, I'm going to say Max Verstappen are going to take the win. I don't think that is unexpected. He does well at this track. He always has done. And the car, as long as it doesn't have any brake issues, is going to do really well at this track. It's going to suit the track a lot. And Max is going to want to get those points back after having a DNF last weekend. I then think if the McLaren car works well here, and it could do, the car does suit this track, Lando Norris and or Oscar Piastri, they could do really well, and we could definitely see at least one McLaren definitely within top 5, if not on the podium. So I hope that you have learnt some stuff about the Japanese Grand Prix ready for the weekend. I hope you will enjoy your weekend, and you'll hear from me very soon. Much love, everyone. Bye.